In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to attach straps to the neck of your dresses or gowns or blouses. And if this is something you want to learn how to do, definitely keep on watching. I'll be using a princess pattern. I have a detailed video on how to draft a princess dart pattern. I initially wanted to do a double dart, but I decided to do it on one side, and that's what I have marked here. So this dart is basically the same with the previous princess dart pattern I have on my channel. The only difference would be the neckline. We will be modifying this neckline to suit the style that we are going for. So this neckline is about 3 inches wide and 3 inches deep at this point, but I went ahead to deepen it to 5 inches. So I basically worked with 3 inches wide and 5 inches deep when I started to sew. So I'm just going to show you guys the back. This is the back pattern. It's basically the same thing as the previous pattern, and this is the front. So what I did for the front neckline at this point, I went ahead to mark half an inch from that center front line into the neckline. From that point to that point, I marked half an inch, and I came down by 2 inches just to create a vent to suit the style that we are going for. So these are all the patterns cut out. You can see the center front part is not entirely straight. It had some slant towards the front neckline, and that is because of the style that we are going for, like I said earlier. So I'll be using these patterns to cut out the fabric. Do note that these patterns do not have any seam allowance at this point, but I'll be cutting the allowances onto the main fabric, and this is the fabric that I'll be using for this project. All right. After cutting out all the pieces, this is what it looks like. I cut the center front unfold, and every other piece I cut 2 individual pieces. I cut the same thing for the lining as well. I got orange lining, and I cut the lining the exact way I cut the main fabric. So what I'm going to do next is to join the dart. I have joined the dart at this point. Then I'm just going to sew from the neck dart V point of the front neckline. I did this by placing the main fabric of the front piece and the lining fabric of the front piece right sides facing. I'm just going to sew for that from that V point up to the other point of the V without sewing down the neckline. So after doing that, this is what it looks like. I turned it over and I did the back part as well, and you can see that the neckline is pretty exposed for the center, for the front piece. It's pretty raw because we'll be attaching straps to the neckline, and you don't want that seam sewn in. The only part that is sewn in is the vent or that V cut at the front piece. So this is my back piece. I placed my 2 back pieces right sides facing, and I marked 2 inches from the neckline downwards and 1 inch from the center back. And I'm just going to stitch that down to ensure that we have like a smooth run for our back strap, or the strap that will be going across the neckline, and not without hindering or without causing any obstruction to the zip. So I'm just going to sew from that point all the way down. Remember, it's 2 inches downwards and 1 inch wide. I'm using 1 inch because that is what I left for my zipper allowance. So I'm just going to stitch that down. Then I went ahead to cut out straps that are 34 inches long and 8 inches wide. I cut 2 individual straps and I joined them together just so I have one really long strap at this point. So what I'll be doing is I'm going to be taking my main fabric, or the main body of my garment, and I'm just going to align that center back seam, the point we just stitched for the zipper allowance. I'm going to align it with that joining that we have on the strap, just so everything looks even and equal. And yeah, so basically I'm just going to sew that down onto the entire neckline from one point to the other point. Do note that I won't be bringing this all the way to that vent opening, just from the point where the vent stops at the neckline to the other point where it stops at the other part of the neckline. I did that, and this is what it looks like. I started from the wrong side, that's the inside part of the garment. So this is what it looks like. You see, it's all nice and neat. Then I went ahead to turn in the strap extension, the part that will be knotting on the front part of our garment. I went ahead to turn it inside just so all the seams are hidden and it looks really nice and neat. So I'm just going to press that down. Then I'll be folding in the strap on the right side. You can see the right side of the strap is exposed, so what I'll be doing at this point is to fold it in by half an inch like this and just sew it down from one neckline to the other part of the neckline where it stops. So I'm just going to sew it all the way around. After doing that, I went ahead to give it a nice press, and this is what it looks like at this point. If you're watching this video up to this point, do give this video a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, do feel free to leave a comment in the comment section and share the video. So basically, this is what the straps look like at this point. Next up, I'm just going to iron it down and attach the zipper allowance as well as the sleeves, or attach the zip rather on the sleeves. So basically I wanted the straps to be curved around the tip, and that is why I stitched it down and gave it a curve at the tip. If you want yours to be straight, you can basically stitch it down straight. It all depends on you. So I'm just going to give this a zip, and that is pretty much it for this video, guys. Do give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, share the video if you've not done that, and leave a comment in the comment section. So until next time, you guys.